Okay, so good evening. Welcome to Product Overview with the Wellness Experts. And tonight our topic is diabetes awareness and prevention. And our guest speaker for tonight is a member of the ACANA Medical Advisory Board, and she is none other than Francine Smith Perkins. She holds a bachelor's of science in nursing as well as a master of science in nursing. She's also a former diabetes educator. She's a Sapphire distributor, a certified wellness coach, a founding member, a mom, and a glam mom. And so she is going to enlighten us, and I must say, take it away, Francine.
All righty, so now I'll have to share my screen, right? Share my screen. Okay. One participant. Okay, hold. Share. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Good
evening.
And
okay. Well, what I'd like to talk about, touch on a little diabetes education. But, when I was a little girl growing up, I would always hear the older people say, "Oh, I've just got a little sugar." Have you guys heard that before?
Yes.
Just a little sugar. So, we did not take, they didn't know enough to take diabetes seriously, not knowing that it could affect their lives so badly and cause their death and loss of limbs and all that kind of stuff. And that kind of minimizes it. Say, I just got a little sugar. Okay. So the people who said that usually use that term were older and may have parents who were immigrants from other countries or from the South and came up here in that great migration. And the phrase is sometimes still used in rural communities and may be used by some doctors in some communities as well, again, by some African Americans from the South. But there's nothing sweet about diabetes. It is a chronic disease that can be managed in some and hopefully prevented in others. You guys see my slides, okay? Hello?
yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what is diabetes? Okay, our body's main source of energy is glucose, and it's the fuel that we need every day for everyday activities. And you get it from some of the foods you eat, but the sugar that is made in your liver. Your body helps lower blood sugar by releasing insulin. And that's a normal function that happens without our even know. It's an autonomic thing. It just, we don't know anything about it, just happens. So the little picture over the side shows the glucose particles. And usually they should, if the insulin is released normally, the blood flow should, glucose should go into the cells from the vessels there. But when the levels are high, when they aren't effective, we don't get enough insulin, or then we get a buildup of the sugar. It's called hyperglycemia, a lot of sugar. So diabetes is really an insulin issue. As we know, insulin is required for glucose to get into your cells so that you can use it for energy. And it is made in the pancreas, it's a little red organ here. Diabetes happens when the body can't use the insulin properly, or it doesn't make enough insulin. And it builds up in the bloodstream, causing high blood glucose levels. Okay, so there are several types of diabetes. One is type 1 diabetes, and it used to be called juvenile diabetes. It was usually, people are born with this, their body stops making insulin, or they were born without it making insulin. And people with type 1 diabetes need insulin injections because their body doesn't make it naturally. And the type 1 diabetes can be begin at any age. We used to call it juvenile diabetes, but no longer, because I've heard of 50-year-olds being diagnosed with juvenile diabetes now. I don't know if it was missed initially or if it's somehow developed. But here are some causes to the rise of type 1 diabetes. Hereditary predisposition, some autoimmune diseases like lupus and other things like that, endocrine diseases, drug and chemical toxins, unfavorable environmental factors, damage or removal of the pancreas, autoimmune destruction of the beta cells, and viruses and infections. Okay, the second type is called, type 2 diabetes, and it's the most common type of diabetes. It is common in adults, but now we are seeing a lot of children with type 2 diabetes, and that's because of their risk factors, not exercising with the event of all these devices and PlayStations, and the kids don't get the activity that they used to get. And even the schools are getting rid of a gym and all those things. So kids are really overweight. And because of the kinds of foods we eat, the type of foods that are available in many of the underserved communities, food deserts, it's cheaper to eat fast food and junk food rather than fresh food, fruits and vegetables. And then also risk factor is having a family history. So in type 2 diabetes, the stomach, that the stomach converts, you may not know, but the stomach converts food into glucose so that we can use it, and it enters the bloodstream. And the pancreas creates a sufficient amount, usually under normal circumstances, of insulin to keep it in balance. But when there's insulin resistance, it doesn't do that. And there's a buildup of sugar in the blood. So the glucose is unable to enter the body effectively, and it rises in the bloodstream, damaging the blood vessels and organs. You see the stomach here. The insulin is made in the pancreas there, and it normally goes into the vessels, and it pushes the sugar, into the cells, out of the vessels into the cells to be used for energy. But that can't happen with diabetes. So again, some of the risk factors are being overweight, not exercising, and having a family history of diabetes. And those are some of those things are risk factors that we can control, the overweight and not exercising. But a family history is nothing you can control. Okay, let's see. Some of the complications of diabetes or high blood sugar is hardened blood vessels, damage to your hardened blood vessels, the eyes, that a lot of diabetics have glaucoma. And sometimes, I think it's the number one cause of blindness in this country, glaucoma. And it's usually frequently secondary to diabetes. The kidneys, you see all these dialysis centers that have popped up all over the country, almost in every neighborhood. It's because the kidneys are shot. Teeth and gums, there's a strong correlation to your gum and teeth health, to disease and inflammation. The feet are affected and the nerves are affected. We hear people have, tingling in the neuropathy. You hear that a lot. That's the nerve damage that can happen as a result of diabetes and uncontrolled blood sugar, sexual dysfunction, and emotional health. And emotional because, diabetes takes a toll on your life as well as your family lives. And it's hard for some people to grasp and need a lot of help and support with that. So if you know someone struggling with diabetes, just know that in many cases, it's not just they're being negligent or not taking care of themselves. It really takes an emotional toll, and they need some additional support. Okay, so in this country, every 17 seconds, someone is diagnosed with diabetes. And African Americans almost two times more likely to have diabetes than non-Hispanic whites. You can learn more about living with diabetes. There's so much information out there. The American Diabetes Association, a lot of the pharmaceutical companies have educational programs that don't include using their drugs. But here on this slide, there's some common myths about diabetes. Sorry guys, it's possible to have a touch of sugar. Nope. A touch of sugar means you have diabetes. Either you have it or you don't. Another myth, people with diabetes need to follow a special diet. Well, people with diabetes benefit from the same healthy food that is good for anyone else. And another myth is that you have to lose a lot of weight for your diabetes to improve. That's not true. Just losing 10 to 15 pounds can improve your blood glucose and blood pressure and cholesterol. So there are things that can be done to control it and hopefully prevent it. Okay, Black women are more at risk for heart disease than any major ethnic group in the United States. And there's a strong correlation between diabetes and heart disease. So people with diabetes are thought to have had, be comparable to having had one heart attack already. You're at a higher risk of all kinds of problems if you're diabetic. Black women are underrepresented in major research trials. We have a higher incidence of diabetes and hypertension, and we are up to 60% less likely to receive aggressive diagnostic testing. And that's with everything, with cancer, breast screening, breast health, diabetes, and across the board. And that's another reason why it's important for us to advocate for ourselves, ask questions, because in this country, so many of us have been marginalized. There's such an inequity, in the healthcare that's provided. And we don't get the same support in testing even that many communities do. We're 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes, and every 4 minutes, a limb or leg or something is amputated due to diabetes. And most are avoidable just by controlling your diabetes. As I mentioned before, in this previous slide, diabetes and heart disease, they are related. High blood pressure, when you look at somebody who's diabetic, you're also looking at their blood pressure. Is that in control? High cholesterol. Usually people are diabetic. The first line of defense is that they put diabetics on statins to lower the cholesterol, like simvastatin and all those other things with the word statin in it to lower the blood the cholesterol. So there is a correlation between high blood pressure, unhealthy weight, and high cholesterol. So you see why people who have diabetes may be at risk for heart conditions. Okay, so do you know that these conditions are connected? When you prevent or manage one condition, you can help prevent or manage all three. Again, that's heart disease, chronic kidney disease, and diabetes. And again, there are so many things that we can do besides getting exercise and rest and decreasing our stress. It's the way we eat. This is a sample plate, how our plates should look when we eat. Half of the plate should include vegetables. Only a quarter of your plate should include starches, and the other quarter proteins. And the protein should be about the size of your fist, not a huge chunk of meat. Just close your hand and look at your fist. It shouldn't be any larger than that. And it should be lean protein. And again, since we're talking about eating for your blood type, that may not include chicken for some of us B-type folk. Okay, and the other thing is that there's so many hidden sources of sugar. And just to be aware, sugar doesn't necessarily cause diabetes, but it does contribute to weight. So the goal is to avoid as many sugary drinks as possible and drink water. And this slide shows some of the sugar contents of like a 100% juice smoothie. You would think because it's juice, it's healthy, but a small, I think this is like a 12-ounce bottle of smoothie contains 60 grams of sugar. 60 grams of sugar, and I think 4 teaspoons Okay, 4 teaspoons equals what? 4 teaspoons equal 1 gram, I think. So that should be like uh, 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 that's like for 20, 14, 15 teaspoons of sugar in that drink. So you see how we're getting that extra sugar that contributes to the weight gain. A lemon lime soda, 77 grams of sugar. Orange soda, 85. Colas, 128 grams of sugar. Even energy drinks have sugar, 54. Even things like food meal supplement drinks, like what are those things people drink? Ensure and those things. They have a lot of them have sugar. Sweetened iced tea has a lot of sugar. Sports drinks, iced coffee. So you see how the sugar can sneak in there in the weight gain. So the USDA recommends that the daily consumption of sugar is only 8 teaspoons a day. That's 32 grams. But the average American consumes 53 teaspoons every day or more. So that's all I have right now. And I'd like to know if anyone has any questions about what I've said. Oh, one form of diabetes I did eliminate was gestational diabetes. That's the diabetes that occurs during pregnancy, and that may sneak up on women. They may be caught when they go to the doctor and they take, samples of their urine to test for protein and sugar. And if caught early, they can control it. They usually treat it pretty aggressively, like put people on medication, blood pressure medication, and diabetes medications pretty quickly. Okay, so that's all I have right now, Dr. Betty. Are there any questions for me? Hello? Uh-oh.
Is there any way or anything that you could do to reverse the neuropathy that comes with diabetes? I know my brother has neuropathy, and he was saying that once the nerve is dead, there's nothing that you can really do to reverse that.
Well, that isn't completely true because for just a personal story, I've had some nerves removed.
Yeah.
Hello?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
It sounds like somebody's off
We
of
can
mute.
hear you. Kalila?
Sister Captain or CC Minister Keith.
Kalila?
Keith is CC Sister Captain. She has to take medicine like every 2 hours, has to be excused.
Mm-hmm.
And she has these like twitches like,
Dr. Betty.
She's in pain. So she wants to
Hello?
kind of generally know that she's.
Dr. Betty?
If you can find her name, you might be able to mute her. There she is.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. Dr. Betty, are you there?
Got it. I got it.
Okay. Okay.
Continue, please.
Okay, so what I was going to say is that I had some nerves. I had a history of having boils under my arms, and they were so painful that one day in the emergency room, I allowed doctors to remove some nerves from under my arm. And I was in so much pain that I didn't care. They said, you may not have any feeling anymore under that arm. And I said, that's okay. I'll be out of pain. But do you know that after a while with nutrition and my nutrients and everything that I was doing, I got the feeling back. So I can feel under my arm. So that's not true. That doesn't. But there are things that people can do. They usually put people on gabapentin to control neuropathy. But there are other
that's
things.
one of the medicines he's on. Yes.
Yes. But I had a doctor recommend once to me acetyl L-carnitine for neuropathy. This was following a different kind of
They have
treatment.
to spell that one for me. I want to put this in my notes.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Make sure I spell it correctly. Hang on. It's I'm still looking, ACETYL. Hang on. Acetyl L-carnitine. It's
I see it. Yep.
ACETYL, the letter L, uppercase L, dash, uppercase CARNITINE.
Okay, I've got it. I see it.
Okay.
Thank
and
you.
just look it up. So, and there are other things. So this was a cancer doctor whose patients had neuropathy, and she had them taken back for the neuropathy.
And is that supposed to just help bring the nerve back, or
Well,
you know?
I don't know what the
Okay.
how, I don't know the mechanism, but it does help with the
The
neuropathy.
neuropathy.
I
Okay,
have to
well,
look
thank
at
you
it.
so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
This is Betty Watts. My husband, Robert, he sometimes be bothered with numbness on the bottom of his feet. And I don't know if they have anything to do with neuropathy or not, but he had been using different types of creams, and the doctor had given him different type of cream. And I started him using our Akana pain cream. And he said that he don't be bothered with it nearly as much now.
Yeah, and I've heard many people say that. Dr. Betty, do you know anything about that? Dr. Betty. Yeah.
Hold on, I had to find me again.
Okay. What I would say is whatever works. And I think I would explore all natural things because, to be honest, medicine is not an exact science. That means that they do the best that they can, and they try to problem solve. They're like detectives trying to follow a trail to see what works, but sometimes you have to think out of the box, as we do here at Akana, and try other things that may complement what they're doing. I'm not saying to stop taking or using what the doctors are recommending, but I'm saying that there are complementary things that may be more effective for some people. Anyone else? So the thing I would like to emphasize all the time is that we have to advocate for ourselves, and that means we have to constantly ask questions and press our doctors and partner with our doctors. So many of us for so many years, and I think it's historical, we would just, our grandparents or whatever, the doctor says something, whatever the doctor says, that's right, that's what we'll do. But sometimes you have to question things. We know more now. You ask questions and ask, is there a better option? Is there something else I can do? And if they say no, well, can you recommend someone else who might be able to give me some more information? And just educate yourselves. And that's with every issue.
Hello, Dr. Perkins. This is Margaret Dorsey. How are you guys?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, well, I have a question, and I see Anthony Morris is on this call, and some of you guys that are scanners. Has there been any correlation between some of the bioscans that we have with people finding out more specific areas of their body that they could address, like nutrition, the vitamins, those kinds of things? Because I know once I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic, and it scared the dickens out of me. And I was like, well, I do this, and this was way before I came to Wakana. And I just freaked out. I didn't know what to do. And then I also started looking up, and I looked into the diet, and I heard you say about cleaning up so I just cleaned up the Pepsi and the different things that I was drinking that wasn't very helpful. But I'm wondering now in 2023, with us having the bioscan, has there been an ability to help people more with the specifics? Because sometimes people just don't get it, the whole picture.
Right. And I'm sure it does, but Betty can address that. Dr. Betty can address that more. But what I would say is I want to add something. You said something about prediabetes, that anything, the A1C, I meant to include a slide of that. And A1C, and that's something you guys can also ask your provider. I'd like to have, an hemoglobin A1C, which shows your blood sugar over a 3-month period. So anything above 6 and anything like, say, 5.3 to 5.8 is considered prediabetes. And you can do a lot about that. Losing weight, again, stop drinking soda. People can lose 10 pounds. you know, I think in less than a year by eliminating soda, exercising. There are things you can do to prevent diabetes and pre-diabetes. That's an indicator that you need to get on it and start making some changes, you know. And another thing, eating all the way we eat, all the breads that we eat, you know. And Betty, will you address the scan, what you guys have found, what you found? Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so you can stop sharing your screen,
Oh,
please.
is it sharing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of the scans, things that would show up that could have or reflect hold on, let me get my thoughts together on this. Things that would show up in the scan that would reflect difficulties or imbalances or poor function with as it relates to pancreatic function would be things like liver, you know, fatty liver, because as we know, the liver plays a big role in the production of insulin, which is, as Francine mentioned, has everything to do with sugar or glucose utilization in the body, allowing it to get into the cell so it can actually be utilized. Then there are some, let me think else. And I personally have not noticed that because for the most part, excuse me, the areas that we focus on during the scans are cardiovascular, cerebrovascular, liver, kidneys, and the pH. So in looking at those items, like I said, the liver would be an indicator that there might be some issues with blood sugar balance. In fact, the liver and the kidneys. But that's a good, if somebody has an issue or a potential problem, hopefully they would do the cleanse, at which point their entire scan could be reviewed and shared with them so that they would have a broader view of what was going on in their body, as opposed to just the 4 areas that we look at.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was leaning towards. I was like, you got to do the cleanse.
Well, okay, well, that's the next part. I was just waiting for everybody to come full circle with their questions, and then we're going to talk about our products that can make a huge difference in terms of preventing and even reversing diabetes, because I mean, that's what we're all about, right? We're about self-care and well-care versus sick care, like our traditional Western medicine people. So are there any more questions? No? Okay, well, let's go there then.
Wait, Dr. Betty, it's Fran. I'm trying to look for a chart to show them the breakdown of the A1C. And maybe I can show that later.
Oh yeah.
So the range. I have it up
Okay.
now, but I don't know if I can share it this way.
Oh, you can.
Oh, let's see. Hang on a second. Oh, I don't have the let's see, slideshow. Here, go ahead. I'll try to figure it out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We never used to go to the doctor. I heard that, Anthony.
That was Annette calling me back. That's right. We never used to go to the doctor.
Lily,
Unless
what entertainer
unless
died
some-
today?
Hold
Huh?
on. I'm sorry. That was Doris. Let me
Oh.
see.
Oh. Let me call her back.
It's okay. Okay. So yeah, we never used to go to the doctor. Well, our parents for the most part. Our parents, our grandparents more so than our parents. Because they go out in the backyard, you know, grab some herbs and what have you, mix up a potion, a concoction, and it was on and popping. And whatever the problem was, for the most part, was remedied. In addition to that, back in the day when, you know, we were on the farm, we were more of a family unit. Mom was at home cooking those meals, and those kinds of things. And not only that, but you know, you had a real breakfast. You had fruits and vegetables on a regular basis. You had more of a balanced meal. And so things like diabetes and high blood pressure were less of an issue. And in fact, they might have even been non-existent. But you know, as we started to run from the South, hurry up and get out of the house so you could be grown, not be bothered with the old folks and this kind of thing. And then with the advent of, you know, more and more processed foods, more and more fast foods, and people working harder, parents especially working harder to put food on the table, to make ends meet and that kind of thing, then things just kind of got out of hand. And people really started looking more toward a quicker solution, you know. So we started eating out a lot. We started buying the processed foods, the packaged foods that were being pushed on us. And then you look at the adulteration of real food, the chemicals that were starting to be added to the foods that we do eat, and those kind of just so many things that really caused dysfunction and imbalance within the body. And I mean, that's all that any of these diseases are. They're an imbalance in the body caused by numerous things, whether it's the pollution in the air, whether it's the runoff of chemicals from industrial plants into the water with the xenoestrogens, whether it's the push by the meat industry to eat more meat, the you know, the push by the dairy farmers to drink milk, you know, just so many things, the stress that we're under, the poor diet, the, you know, the chemicals, and on and on and on and on, and all the chemicals in the water. You know, we're just inundated with stuff, you know, with issues that really cause an assault, for lack of a better word, assault on our bodies and our minds. So, you know, we here at, I'm sorry, do we have any guests on the line? I was looking through, but I didn't really see any. Do we? Or is everybody here an entrepreneur? No guests? Okay, so that's the reason that the real reason that we do what we do, because we are more aware and we are really starting to open our eyes and see what's going on around us. We can see it in the children, we can see it in our own lives, we can see it in our friends' lives, we can see it in, the increase in disease rates, almost to epidemic proportions in many areas, things like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, things like hypertension, cancer, and the like. And when we see this increase, let me see what time it is. Are we having the lifer call at 8:00? Did anybody see that?
I don't know. I didn't see it on the, this was the last call that I saw.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll go look and see now.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So, there are just so many assaults that are going on in our lives from so many different directions. Even the increase in genetically modified, or they're calling them bioengineered foods now. It's all the same thing. But there's just so much, and with all of these things going on, it just makes for a greater assault on and insult to our health and our wellness. And so we here at Akana have taken up the mantle and recognize that because we are aware, because we are learning more about real wellness, real health, that it's our responsibility now. And so that is why we, are tasked with presenting this education to the masses, to our customers, to our families, to anybody that will listen, and identifying the problem. But we don't just identify the problem, because we have solutions. And so, pretty much we wanted to really focus on not so much the disease process, and the intricacies of it, but really to talk about awareness and prevention. And so when you start talking about, I gotta talk really fast. It's 7:55. So
there's nothing else scheduled.
There's nothing. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing on there other than this.
Okay.
This is the last thing.
Ooh, thank you. Not an email either. Okay. All right. So,
In your neighborhood?
so we have the responsibility to share the knowledge and the education that we have received with those we come in contact with. And Michael Jackson said it so plainly, and in one of his songs. Would you please give me a break? Okay, I'm busy right now, okay?
Man in the mirror.
Exactly. And not just man in the mirror, they don't really care about us. He called it. And that has been displayed so many times and in so many ways. And it's not even just us, I mean, for the most part, I would say they don't care about none of us. I don't care whether you're black, white, purple, yellow, green, or whatever, because it's all about the almighty dollar right now. And, this can be seen in the governmental agencies that are supposed to be protecting us, the EPA, the FDA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, even just something as simple as labeling things as genetically modified or bioengineered, that has been such a fight in and of itself, because we say we want to know and they say, oh, it's voluntary. Excuse me? So we have to become more aware, more educated ourselves. And just like I think it was Dr. Thomas that mentioned, we have to become the CEOs of our own bodies. And in doing that, we take responsibility for our own health, because this is my body, this is my responsibility, and I will partner with a healthcare practitioner to help me to reach a higher level of wellness, but that is what it should be, a partnership. And so when we share with our customers, our family, et cetera, about how to maintain, regain health and how to reset the body, then, we are performing a monumental task of to me, of humanitarianism. So enough of that. So the products that are beneficial in terms of supporting the body and bringing the body back into balance, and that's how you prevent disease, dysfunction, and degeneration. And that's how you can literally reverse things that are already going on. And so, first of all, it's about, like Margaret mentioned, it's about detoxing. It's about cleansing our systems, because we are so full of inflammation, toxicity, and mucus that the body has no choice but to be in a dysfunctional state where it cannot perform its task at the effectively, or to the maximum effectiveness, because we're full of toxins which deplete that ability of the body to perform its natural functions, which are to heal, to regulate, and regenerate themselves. Our bodies literally have the ability to do that. But if our bodies are out of balance, if we are not providing our bodies with adequate nutrition, foods that are nutritionally dense, then the body does not have the raw materials to do what it needs to do, which is to heal, regulate, and regenerate. And so, Dr. Prince has mentioned over and over and over again about how our cells die and then they're regenerated. But in order for that regeneration to take place, we have to provide it with what it needs. And that is, again, that's raw, nutrient-dense substances like the superfoods and raw foods. And I say raw foods because that's where the nutrients come from. That's where you get energetic frequencies from the foods that are raw, because we haven't killed them yet. Whenever we cook food, we kill it. We decrease the energy that is naturally within those foods, because once you cook them, then that breaks the bonds and the energy just dissipates. So we're left with just stuff. We're left with, the remnants of the energetic nutrients. It might taste really good, but really how much benefit are we getting from that food? If you know or you don't know, because of the farming practices that many of the commercial farmers use, not to mention the pesticides and the herbicides, but the actual farming processes, most of the foods that we eat, most of the produce that we eat are deficient in many minerals that the body needs to perform a whole lot of different functions. And one such mineral is magnesium. I think I read that for the most part, most, if not all, Americans are deficient in magnesium. And magnesium is one of those minerals that is utilized in probably 1,000 or so, at least several hundreds of different processes that go on in the body, from breaking down, assimilating, digesting the food that we eat, to making hormones, making enzymes, nourishing the nerves, just a ton of different processes within the body. So if we're deficient in even that one nutrient, then that causes like a domino effect as it relates to other nutrients and functions in the body, because they're all interrelated. For instance, magnesium and calcium work together, and magnesium is involved with muscle strength and nerve transmission, and just on and on and on. So we need raw food, and we need raw food because we need the energy that it also brings to our bodies, because everything is energy, right? So if we eat food that is cooked to the max and has no energetic frequency, then our bodies start to really become become deficient in terms of the energy production, and that affects our ability to function in the maximum to our maximum capacity. So yes, our flat belly lifestyle is the bomb diggity, and it, number one, cleans up the toxins in the body by eliminating the waste from the body, cleaning out the lining of our intestines, getting all that old crud, much of it that has been there since we were kids, and has just become kind of impacted on the inner lining, and slows the peristaltic waves that kind of move the food along and move the waste along to the colon, excuse me, for elimination. And if that wave-like movement, that peristalsis, is decreased because of the gunk that's adhering to the lining, then that slows digestion. It inhibits the transport of the actual nutrients from the food that we eat. It inhibits that movement from the intestines into the bloodstream because of the crud, the waste, the mucus, the inflammation, and the like that is covering the lining of the intestines. In addition to that, the excuse me, the villi that actually extract those nutrients from the intestines are many times covered with mucus because of the inflammation that we experience in our digestive tract. And so if those villi are covered with mucus and the nutrients can't get in, that contributes to malnourishment. In addition to that, most people have parasites, right? If you ever ate meat, you got parasites. And even if you never ate meat, excuse me, even if you never ate meat, then you probably still have parasites because many times the food that we eat, even though they use pesticides and what have you, trust me, there's still eggs on there, worms in the food. I've seen them when I do my cleaning of my produce. And once you put it in the water, many times you can see the parasites, the worms, rise to the top. That's why it's so important. Excuse me. That's why it's so important to wash your produce. And we have an excellent produce wash that you can get right in your back office that excuse me, is devoid of some of those chemicals that that people use to use with some of these veggie washes and what have you. Ours is definitely food grade and kills 99.9% of 99.5% of whatever is on there, any vermin. Okay, now, hold on. Okay, so now, so the purifier, the flat belly purifier, again, pulls out the mucus, the parasites, and flushes them out, just like Drano. And then we have the eliminator, which helps to break up the mucus and kill the parasites. And then the purifier flushes them out, which is great because we don't want those toxins floating around in our system. And then we have our superfoods, which actually provide us with the nutrient dense raw materials that the body can now use to make healthy new cells, because healthy cells make healthy tissues, and healthy tissues make healthy organs, and healthy organs make healthy systems. And now that you've got all of these healthy parts going on, the body can function more effectively. It can function at its maximum capacity. And once you have these regenerated cells, tissues, and organs, now those organs can actually function to their maximum capacity. And many times, and let me say, if you continue to utilize, if you continue to follow the lifestyle change that is encouraged with the flat belly lifestyle, then you continue to provide your body with those great nutrients so that those healthy new cells can continue to be regenerated once the old ones die. And at that point, if you remember, each of the cells, organs in our body actually regenerate with the regeneration of new cells. And so different organs, glands, etc., take different amounts of time to regenerate. But let's take the pancreas, since we're talking about diabetes. The pancreas actually regenerates itself in about 90 days. So just look at, if you did a 21-day cleanse and then you did the post detox regimen, and you continue to eat according to your blood type, and you continue to eat raw foods and foods that were actually providing energy, nourishment to your body, in 90 days, a diabetic would potentially not be a diabetic anymore, because potentially their pancreas could have regenerated itself to a healthy state and now function at its maximum capacity, being able to produce and secrete insulin that was effective in moving the blood sugar along, and balancing the blood sugar. So, this is, so that excites me, because how many people have we heard testimonies from right here in Akana who were diabetics, who were on numerous medications, and after doing the 21-day raw cleanse, it's starting to eat right for their blood type and continuing with what they have learned during the cleanse. How many of them have reported that they are on less medication, and some on none? I mean, Scott tells us that all the time, how he was taking oh my gosh, it was 12 to 15 pills a day, and now he takes one. Mom Mitchell talked about her return to a healthier state of wellness in terms of her blood sugar, and how she's taking much less medication. So the proof is in the pudding, guys. If you do what is required of your body, or if you do what is required by your body to function at its maximum capacity, it'll treat you well. And that means it'll function the way it's supposed to function, and not become dysfunctional and start to degenerate faster than it should. So our flat belly lifestyle, and then, so we've got the superfoods, and now we have that phenomenal protein powder that you can literally mix with the superfoods and make yourself a great smoothie, which can act as a meal replacement, and still you're getting those accelerated nutrients to feed your body what it needs, because our bodies are just like a car. You're supposed to change the oil, get a tune up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in that way, your car does not dysfunction, and you can keep it running for many, many years to come. And our bodies are the same way. Okay, and now then in addition to that, we got our phenomenal aronia berry juice. And the aronia berry juice, in terms of blood sugar, actually helps to balance the blood sugar level. because it supports the body, it supports the organs, it supports the function of the organs, the antioxidants and other flavonoids and that kind of thing that are part and parcel of the aronia berry juice serve the body to keep it functioning like a well-oiled machine. The National Institutes of Health has done numerous research studies on the effects of the aronia berry juice on not just the pancreas and the blood sugar levels, but the heart, your cardiovascular system, the nervous system, the brain and the heart, on the immune system, the ability of the body to, the ability of the aronia berry juice and the components thereof to support the body so that the body can protect itself, can fend off disease, dysfunction, infections, and that kind of thing. Even cancer, they found that the aronia berries are anti-cancerous and anti-tumoral. So just so many beneficial effects that the aronia berry juice has, and helping to balance the blood sugar level through supporting the liver, the kidneys, and all the other organs is another. Then we have our black seed oil. The black seed oil is not only been shown through research studies to boost the immune system, but also to stimulate the beta cells to produce insulin. And remember, decreased amount of insulin is one of the biggest problems with diabetes, because the body the pancreas starts to, pancreatic function starts to decrease, thereby decreasing the amount of insulin that is available to the cells to allow the sugar to get into the blood. That lock and key function has become dysfunctional. So the black seed oil, like I said, has been shown to stimulate the beta cells of the pancreas to increase insulin production. So that helps to, again, to balance the blood sugar levels. And then we have our CBD, which activates the receptor sites within the body, the receptor sites, CB1 and CB2 receptor sites, and brings the endocannabinoid system back into balance so that it can regulate and modulate all of our other systems so that they can function to their maximum capacity, performing their jobs at the highest level, those jobs being to heal, to regulate, and regenerate our bodies. And so, again, it's all about balance. And all of these products that I mentioned help to bring our bodies back into balance so that our bodies can function at their maximum capacity. Does anybody have any questions? Comments? Nothing? Crickets, huh?
I
Okay.
just want to say that this process that we have is working. And not to go down on medical doctors, but the truth of the matter is, it's just it's sad to go to them, because first of all, they give you a diagnosis, and then it's fear. And we know where fear comes from. It don't come from God. Here at O'Connor, we're in the hands of God. And this cleanse process cleans the blood. He tells us in Leviticus 11:17, the life of the flesh is in the blood. When you clean your blood, it's applied to your doorpost, and the death angel passes you by. No sickness or disease can come near you. And I am a living witness of that. I've been sick since I've been back.
All right.
I'm overseas, and I didn't get sick then. I don't take no medication. And I thank God for Dr. Eric Prince and the Flat Belly Lifestyle.
For sure, for sure. Yep, and he's absolutely right. And so, this is the importance of us learning more about our bodies, how they work, and what we can do to maintain and even to reset our bodies so that we can function to our maximum capacity, and reach the higher level of wellness. And when we learn about these things, even if we do go to the doctor, again, like I said, we are the CEO of our body, and we have a responsibility to be a partner with them, not to go there for them to lay it out and say, okay, we encourage everybody to have questions. Do your own due diligence. Francine mentioned that. Do your own due diligence. When you go there, have questions. Ask questions. Be your own advocate.
The other thing, may I add, is that it may help for people to write it down. Write your questions down, because they have a short period of time. Most practices are governed by businesses, corporations, and they have 15 to 20 minutes to see each patient. So they address the most important issue first. But you need to write down what you'd like them to cover, so you don't forget. And if you think you'll forget, take somebody with you for support to help you remember.
Mm-hmm.
I have another slide I want to just show right quick. I did add it about the A1C, so people can ask their doctors about their blood sugar. If I can pull it up, let me see if I can do it really briefly. Let's see. I did add it. Okay, share screen. Hey, I'm a pro. Do you see that? You see my slide?
Not yet.
Now?
See them.
You do see it?
I see the slides. And if you click on slideshow, that'll even move the slides off the side. But yes, I can see it all.
Okay. Let me see. I haven't done it since
slideshow.
Start the video. Where's my slideshow?
Oh yeah, okay.
It's right there.
Right there.
Oh, okay. I don't want to not now. I don't want to do that. I'm not sure. From the current slide. Okay, from the current slide. Okay. So I just want to show guys the hemoglobin A1C. It's an important measure of how well your diabetes treatment is really, or just what's happening with your blood sugar if you're not diabetic. And it's a blood test that shows your average blood sugar over the last 90 days or 3-month period. So people with diabetes, the goal is less than 7%. But this little slide at the bottom, the little blood cells, oh shucks. It's doing its own thing now. Let me get off of this. I'm sorry, crap. Okay,
Really?
so these little things, this is a red blood cell, and the little blue things are sugar molecules start trying to get into the cell so you can use it for energy. So when you have a low A1C, which is good, that's how it looks. But when you have a high A1C, you have all these molecules attaching to the outside of the cell, and they can't get in the cell, so they're in the bloodstream, which makes your blood sugar go up. Okay, so this is the next slide is about the average A1C, 50, like 4%, 50 to 80, on up to, okay, we talked about pre-diabetes being 5%, let me see. The slide, the numbers on the right are equivalent to what your blood sugar is. And over here is the A1C, comparable A1C. So if you have an A1C, which they want diabetics to have of 7%, less than 7%, that means your blood sugar on that day is 150 to 100 milligrams. And the normal, you don't want your blood sugar to be 90 to 100, less than 100. So when you talk about pre-diabetes, this is where you are from like this 5 up until when you're over 6.4, you're considered diabetic. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but I just thought I'd like to share that.
That's great because I never knew specifically how they break down the A1C. So it's when they say that, oh, your A1C is 7, that means it's 7%.
Yeah, you're diabetic. Yes, 7% diabetic.
And that correlates to the levels of blood sugar.
Yeah, that 7, that means your blood sugar is 150 to 180 milligrams, which is high,
That's high.
That
is, yeah.
But the next
that's
slide.
That's over a 3-month period.
Right. So it shows what's happening over a 3-month period, because doing it daily, that's one number, but you want to see how it's reacting.
The average over
a 3-month period. And so people who are diabetic, they should have that done every 3 months, so they'll know if they're getting treatment, if it's effective. Okay,
Gotcha.
and the other side, the next one, if you decrease your A1C by 1%, you get a 25 to 30% drop in eye, kidney, and nerve damage. And that's important. So, just losing weight, that will help decrease that A1C in most cases. And that's what I want to share.
Awesome. Yeah. I see here you have the 25 to 30% of eye, kidney, and nerve damage as a result of
dropping the 1%. The A1C decreasing like from 7 to 6.
Will decrease the nerve damage, the kidney damage, and the eye damage?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Well,
so there are things that we can do to improve our health. I mean, now, of course, if the damage is really there, if you're already so damaged that you're a candidate for dialysis or something, it's not going to be the same. But we're talking about people who are pre-diabetic and things like that. You want to decrease your risk before, getting to that point.
Before the crisis comes.
Right.
And that's one of the benefits of being able to do the scan, the bioscan, to see where you are, to see where you need to make appropriate changes. Yeah. And then too, the other thing that is really going to help with regenerating our bodies is the EE system that we will have open to the public in January. So I'm really excited about that. So, I mean, we are here, we are identifying problems, and at the same time, we are offering people solutions with state-of-the-art programs and services and that kind of thing. And it's only going to get better from here on. So with that said, I want to really, really thank everybody for coming out and supporting. And again, if there are things that you want to know about, please email me, call me, text me, whatever. You can email me at compliance@akana.com. Or you can text me at 312-771-6112. So with that said, I want to wish everybody a peaceful and restful evening. And I look forward to seeing you next week.
Good night, everyone.
Oh,
Good night,
I'm
Dr.
sorry.
Betty.
I'm sorry, Fran. Here, a couple of questions. Iola wants to know what if your A1C, I'm assuming, is 6.1.
Well, that's pre-diabetes. Anything over 6.4 is considered diabetes to be diabetes. You know, pre is anything up to 6.4. Anything 6.4 and above, you're diabetic.
So, okay, so what's the low level? Is that what I'm asking? What is the the level of what's the normal levels?
Well, like that slide I showed you, some people have a A1C of 50 and 40, that low. I mean, that means 4%. I mean, they have a 4% A1C. And that means their blood sugar is like 50 to 60.
Gotcha.
Yeah, things like that. But there are people who present in our community, go to the hospital, and their A1C is like 13 and 14. So people, and that means their blood sugar is 300 and 400. And there's damage that's occurring.
Exactly. A lot.
A
to
lot,
the eyes,
yes.
the kidneys, the brain, the nerves. Yeah. Awesome.
And if you have never had an A1C, hemoglobin A1C, ask your doctor to do it. You know, they may say, oh, you don't have a family history, they don't test. You say, well, I'd like to know what it is anyway. You know, and that way you'll have a baseline.
Especially if you're not one who is, you're not diagnosed already and you're not taking your blood sugar on a regular basis. Because some people have a pretty sugary diet, high animal fat diet, and all of those things contribute to the body's ability to produce and secrete insulin, and the body's ability to maintain a balanced blood sugar level. Yep. So, okay, guys.
Betty, she asked another question. What do you recommend to bring down the A1C? And I gave my recommendation. The 21-day flat belly cleanse will absolutely bring your A1C down and everything else.
Exactly.
And then also, you have to be active. We've got to exercise.
Absolutely.
It is extremely important. Exercise, and whether it be brisk walking or just studies recently have shown just regular walking. Just move. You got to move. And then watch your diet.
I just got through planting the last winter crop before I head overseas. Collards, mustards, kale, spinach,
and
turnips. Got it done with this hot weather.
All right. So when are they gonna be ready?
They'll be up probably by Saturday. So
really?
we just be up out of the ground, and the frost or the cold and none of that will bother it because it's the winter crop. But I have 2 other gardens with plenty of greens and kale and all of that. I'm going to pull some for Sylvia
here
tomorrow. Yes, here.
Right.
Yes.
I'll be in line.
You know,
I'll tell you, y'all. He gave me some. Yeah. As green as it could be.
and there's no chemicals, it's organic.
I'm telling you, he gave me a watermelon, y'all. It was sweet. I got the seeds. All right, guys. Thank you so much again for joining us. And we look forward to wait a minute. Okay, cool. All right, I guess we're done for real now. So have a great evening, and I'll see you guys next week, okay? Bye for now.
Thank you, Dr. Betty. Good
Thank
night,
you,
everybody.
guys. Uh-oh, I'll do this.
Good night.
Good night.
Win, win, win.
Push.
Good night.
As Phyllis says, push.
Push, push, push.
That's right.
Good night.